Ready to be Romanced. I'm Tori.
I'm Haley.
And I'm Angela.
And today we're discussing
Bridgerton
season 3. I guess we should specify part 2. I cannot believe actually we're back and it flew by the whole month of May and half of June.
No, it's true. I was like eager beaver, and then all of a sudden
we're back.
I think it was like the 2 days before it was coming out that was when I was like, I can't wait.
Same.
Like, I cannot wait.
It was almost kind of them to give us a little bit of a break in between. Like, I know we were all haters about it before, but now I'm like, okay, well, it was nice that I didn't just like barrel through it in one day. And then I could at least sit and enjoy the fact that I liked the first part of this season.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm also somebody who just like savors. Like I don't savor things at all. Like, and so it was like you're saying, it was nice to do that. Like, it was enjoyable to be like, I have more now. When in other seasons I would have had nothing in a month because I would have watched it all.
Yeah, I still actually truly think they should have just done an episode a week though. Like, why not just do 8 weeks then if you're gonna do 2 months?
Honestly, I think it would have been better like received if it had been like one at a time. Like, there would have been more like suspense and more like the suspense would have been warranted. Because I feel like it was just like all for naught.
Yeah, I feel like it would feel more slow paced. I also think that binging can create like outrage bait kind of. Because I feel like I liked a lot of the first half of the season too. But then like I do get caught up in the like online discourse. And then
the nonsense, the BS, if you will.
Yeah, and then some time apart, I was like, no, I did really like this. I'm really excited for part 2. And then part 2, while I will never not enjoy Bridgerton because I love the characters.
Exactly. Like, I don't want people to come in and be like, oh, Haley hated this. Like, she hates quality television. That's not the case. It's that it wasn't what I necessarily wanted it to be. And that's okay. I've been able to sit with that for the last couple days and be like, okay, like now that I'm a little bit separated from it, can I understand? Like, can I enjoy aspects of it, even though I might not have done it this way?
Well, and I think that's the problem sometimes where you're watching something that is like a adaptation where you're like so eager to find out like what's been included and what's been excluded that you're like not even really enjoying it. You're just kind of like, okay, like get to the next scene so I can make sure they did it right. And I feel like I had a lot of that going on with this when I was just like, God, a mirror's in this room. Like, when is it coming? Like, you know, like,
oh God,
I'm just like waiting.
That's so funny.
I'm like
the only piece of there's 2 pieces of furniture here. One's a mirror and one's a chaise lounge.
Like
in this like abandoned apartment. Like, I wonder what's gonna happen. Like,
yeah, that's so funny. So yeah, let's get into like the details. If you are new here, we covered the book and Romancing Mr. Bridgerton and part 1 of the show on an earlier episode, and then Haley and I also covered seasons 1 and 2 and the books. So spoiler warning.
And then you caught me in your trap.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm never leaving.
Exactly.
We forced you to engage us.
No, we'll see you in 2 years when the next one.
2 years. No, I'll cover something else. I'll come back. No worries.
I can't wait for the Elle Enchanted podcast.
Oh my God, yes.
You know, want to hear something really sad?
Yeah.
They're still right here.
It's still there.
Oh my God, that's so fucking funny. That would kill me, to be honest. So spoiler warning, we will be discussing books 1 through 4 and then its TV series adaptation, but we won't spoil anything that comes after. So we left off with Colin asking P, or I always want to call her P because of the Kardashians, even though I know her nickname is Pen.
Can't call her P.
I've
call her that.
I've been brainwormed from the Kardashians. Colin has just proposed to Pen.
In like the way that he does in the book. Where he's just like, will you marry me already? And we were all like gagged. We were like,
gagged. We like really left off on a high note. And they enter Bridgerton house, and the family is so excited.
I did love this.
It was very sweet. It was very sweet. They like it. I wish though. I feel like this episode is gonna have a lot of like I wishes and like they should
for
have.
Sure.
But like I just wish it's like none of them seemed like overly surprised, and I wish there was just like a conversation that was like, I'm so glad that you guys finally got together because we've seen your friendship, and friendship is the base of.
And are we forgetting about, I mean, like, that's what his mom said to him.
Yes,
like, he was asking all those questions. So I think she picked up on it because of, like, the thing that came out in Lady Whistledown about him helping her, or whatever, the rumor that was spreading about him helping her find a husband. So, like, the mom was like, okay, I know you're spending time with Penn. Like, you just asked me this question about friendship. Like, 2 plus 2 equals 4. Like, clearly that's who you were obsessed with. But yeah, like, nobody else would know that. Like,
no.
Hyacinth's just like, I am so happy we'll be sisters.
That was cute.
And then the dark, gloomy cloud of Eloise just standing there like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
That's honestly my biggest pet peeve with all of this is the downfall of the Eloise and Penn relationship. And then like they had to fix it, obviously. A little forced, but whatever.
Yeah.
I get it. TV needs drama. The book would be boring.
Yes. They head over to their new residence, which is a Bridgerton estate that will be theirs. And they have sex on the chaise lounge. And like,
what'd you think?
I thought it was really
TLDR.
Yeah, the TLDR was like, I thought it was really good. I thought it was.
Me too.
Yeah.
It was so like it was even better than I expected it was going to be. Like I thought it was so tender and so sweet. And I really have to focus on this moment because I have very few tender and sweet feelings towards Colin's characterization for the rest of the second part of the season.
Tough. No, but he does it perfectly here, I think.
Yeah, and like this part really got me amped up for what the rest of the season was going to be. And then I was let down. But this moment, moment was perfect for me.
And I think we talked about we talked about the book last time, so we know like they do it a lot. Like they do this like pre-wedding situation, but then they also are like after they get married, just like that's like the happy moments for Penelope is like she's a wife and they're just like in love and they're effing all the time, and that's like doesn't happen. I think that was tough for me was because like after they get married, even after he finds out that she's Lady Whistledown, like they're still like going at it. Like there's never a time in the book where he sleeps on the couch.
No.
Didn't love him sleeping on the couch.
Yeah, I feel like this episode of the podcast for me is going to be very much Haley's gripes and grumbles about the second part of the season.
Yeah.
Because in the book, it was very much Penn and Colin like against the world, where in this, it felt like Penn versus Colin. And we lost a lot of the charm that we built up in the first part of the season. And it just, like, it was almost hard for me to engage with it, that there were so few happy moments. Even, like, their wedding didn't feel as, charming and lovely as it could have.
And I do feel like there were glimmers of him supporting her, but like you're right. It should have been like Penn and him against the world. And like the scene where he yells at Lady Featherington was great. More of that. Like, you know what I mean? Like he was never like standing up for her once he found out that she was Lady Whistledown. He was just like, this is too much for me to handle. Like, and even Eloise at that point was like, let it go, dude. Like you love her. She loves you. You're also married now. Like, what are you going to do about it? Like, get over it.
Yeah, even this scene where she is telling the Ton that she's Lady Whistledown in the very last episode.
But I guess how did we we could just jump straight ahead to that? Like, how do we feel about that? Not great.
Not great. Like, I liked that it was them together.
Like on the, you mean like in the balcony, and then he's just like, may I present to you my wife, Lady Whistledown, and like it's like him saying like, this is who you are, not like a weird trial.
Yes, yeah.
Overhead lighting.
Yeah, it in the book it seemed like he let her have the spotlight, which he like, with the whole book writing process, he like almost didn't want her to have, but then he like comes to his senses, and then he helps her do the reveal by setting it all up and then introducing her to the crowd, because the thing is that the Featheringtons aren't liked. They've had a dubious reputation in the Ton, and then the Bridgertons are like the beloved family. But the introduction, I felt like, didn't take away from her speech. And then this was just like she was like left alone. And like I thought the whole point about like Penn and Colin was that like she wouldn't be alone anymore, alone with her mom and like stuff like that. And I hated it. I'm so sad.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. I just think it was like, very like shoehorned in, like the vibes of it all. Like they were trying to like make it work, and so it was tough because there's a lot of content in the book that could have been great for the TV show, and like they just like were like, nah, we'll just do our own thing.
I also don't know what this Bridgerton, like, why? Because, okay, it's like they have this now formulaic setup where it's like the couples get together around episode 4, but then there's trouble and then they solve it in episode 8. They've done that now for 3 seasons and it's getting like tired, and it's like it doesn't work for every story.
No, and they had a perfect opportunity here to have their love story be the focus and have them trying to figure out together as a team how to solve the problem, and for Colin to really like you said, we've had 3 seasons of we're fighting for 3 episodes and then finally in episode 8 we can kiss and be happy. We're like,
it's almost like they thought about the formula that they did have in the books, which was like they get married too soon and then it's boring, and they were like they overcorrected to be like they don't get married soon enough, and that's also now boring. So it's like we need a little bit more. We need more.
Yeah. And it just sucks because also the tension in this book, because of the Lady Whistledown reveal and how in the book it's Lady Danbury, but in the show it was Queen Charlotte puts out a reward to find out the person's identity. It's like that's actually like good drama. So it's like why
I thought that was fine.
Yeah, it's like why like you have that tension. So why did you like cause...
You don't need more.
Yeah, you caused
you don't need tension between the 2 leads. Yeah. And I think maybe like we're disappointed because during the press tour we were told how like this was such a romantic story and
sexual.
We got 7 scenes of Benedict in a threesome, but really like only 1 P&V scene.
Honestly, I'm sorry to curse. I hated that stuff. I never felt that Benedict liked Lady Arnold. Like I was just like, I felt like he had so much chemistry with Paul, and like
I know.
Honestly, if he had just been gay with Paul, like I would have been way happier.
I like this storyline to a certain extent. Like I liked, it was kind of an interesting.
Yeah, so maybe it was a casting mishap then.
It was like I'm not invested in Lady Tilly at all. I was like, all right,
I hate that bitch.
I'm fine with the threesome bit, but it was just like every 15 minutes they're like, and pan to a threesome and another one. It's like this isn't Benedict's story, so I don't really care. Like we'll have a little bit of threesomeness and then maybe the breakup after, but I didn't need more of Benedict's sex than Colin's sex.
And just like so much content about her and the other guy and Paul. His name was Paul, right?
Yeah.
What a good question you're asking me.
Yeah.
But like there was so much content about them and like they don't matter. Like they don't matter.
This is the thing. This is my biggest fucking problem with this book though, or this show, is that they are setting Benedict up to be like his whole thing is like free love and like the confines of society and stuff, and he has a book where he meets a girl and immediately marries her, and then like I guess there is some like rebuking of like class standards, but like it's just so fucking funny how like his whole gig is that he like immediately marries Sophie, and they have like a pretty like he's an artist, but like they have a pretty like trad like traditional relationship. So I'm like, why are you like, it just seems so weird that he would change like immediately.
For sure. And the untraditional aspects of like him as a person are that he is okay marrying down. Like that's the vibes in the book. Like it's he's cool like marrying somebody not in the ton, and like that's why he's so controversial. Like so it kind of feels like they're trying to find a more edgier thing for him. And it's like,
but
I
it
don't know,
would be edgy to date someone not in society. Like,
for sure. Like that's what Eloise almost like got ostracized for last time. So I don't know. It just feels like they're trying to like, I think they're trying to give him backstory that doesn't exist in the book. So they're like, okay, what happens up until Sophie? Like why is he so like, you know, taken with this girl? Like why is he like, you know, who he is in her book, like when we don't meet him at all in previous ones.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that I can see that they're maybe setting up is that Benedict, yeah, he like wants to be an artist. He's okay with like, you know, doing drugs and like hooking up with people and, you know, hooking up with men and stuff like that. And I wonder, I guess it's like, so the next logical step is that he like doesn't care about class, whatever. So I don't know. Maybe that does make sense, but I'm like, in the sense of a like relationship,
just it also makes me so worried about what they will do with his book because like
I have
it's
the
like
spiciest theory.
Do you?
Yeah. Oh boy.
Tinfoil hat time?
Do we want to get into it now? I feel like this is wild. Okay.
Yeah.
We're bouncing around.
We really are. Okay, we got a question from @KPB1216. She said, "What will happen to Cressida? Will she be in season 4?" You guys, I really think that like
No.
So she is getting sent away to an aunt's house. And I really feel like either she'll get treated like shit there and she'll be like a scullery maid. And then she sneaks back into the Bridgerton house with a mask. Or like...
I would not be happy with that. I would be so upset. I would just be like flabbergasted.
And me too. Like, I think that's like insane. But then remember the mom's name and stuff like that?
It's like the same... name as Akatar. It's like the same vibes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But like
of the bad lady from that book.
Okay, these were the clues. It's like, why were we getting so much Cressida?
I know. It's not a bad theory. I would just be...
It's a bad theory and I hate it. It's not a bad theory and that it's like bad. It's a bad theory and that I hate it.
Yeah, no, like it's bad. Like I don't want it to happen, but I do understand the dots that you're coming from.
Because also, it's like, remember Sophie was like, I kind of used to be in society, so like you would know my family and stuff like that.
You would know
Cressida
her.
would know her.
It wouldn't work.
It's too obvious.
It would be the Cinderella story, like...
Yeah, but then after she takes it off, like when he like sees her out, he wouldn't like, because remember in the book he doesn't put it together right away. He's like, like, oh, Sophie. He's like, the Sophie and the masquerade girl are two separate people, and like not until like she spells it out for him.
Yeah.
Does he know? And he's like, why didn't you tell me? But yeah, he's not going to be like, oh, Cressida.
Yeah, Penelope and Eloise and Colin would not be okay with Cressida being their new sister-in-law.
No.
Yeah.
And Sophie's such a delightful like presence.
Breath
like,
of fresh
air. I would be very sad.
Do you think we see she goes away to Wales or whatever, and then...
I don't think we see her again, do we?
I wonder if she comes back from the aunt's house with a new lady's maid who she treats horribly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I would take that for sure, because like introducing another house with more people is tough.
Yeah.
But then you miss Posey and you miss all that. But I don't know. We'll see.
True. But I definitely feel like Benedict's season's coming next, because at the end we got Eloise being like, "Well, don't worry, Benedict, I'll be back for Mom's masquerade ball."
Yeah, it's like
she would never let us miss it.
Yeah,
that thing that she always does, just like the roses ball and this ball that has never happened before, but it's every season.
Yeah, the hearts and flowers ball. Yeah, I definitely think it's Benedict's season. I could also see that they could possibly be doing the dual seasons.
Yes,
I'm dying for a dual season, because like I can't be waiting until I'm 45 until for this series to be over. That's ridiculous.
But I also don't. I want it to be a dual season, like fully. I don't want it to be like Francesca's, like the tail end of another.
I know.
Like it needs to be like more
that in this season. Like I really truly hated that. But there is like some other clues. Like Eloise and Benedict are the ones always having the conversations like on the swings, and then they had that conversation out at the masquerade ball. And then when she leaves in the carriage, she goes like this against the window. And so people are like, season 4, like, interesting. Oh, I should say I'm she gestures on the
wow,
window.
you did go down.
Oh yeah, we know what's happening.
Yeah. I was down a rabbit hole. I could totally see them doing their seasons because we also found out that we won't get a new season until 2026.
I can't. I'm
For
very
what
upset.
reason?
Literally for no reason. It's 8 fucking episodes and they have source
they could speed it
material.
And they could like honestly, like you're telling me the actors aren't like willing to just do it. Like they all seem super into it. Like
This is
it
all
seems
of
ridiculous.
their like big breaks and like it's all of their most important career moves and stuff like that. So there's no way that they wouldn't put time aside. And I think that they're maybe they're getting worried that they're like, yeah, it is going to take us 2 years, even though there's no COVID and no fucking strike anymore, that maybe they think that they won't be able to keep these actors. And so they're like, we got to start combining them. Like
they just need to start like filming them all together, just like film them back to back and then release them. Like it's so crazy to me. This is like, I'm upset by it.
Yeah, me too.
What I also think might happen is that we won't get the next season, but we will get another non-Bridgerton Queen Charlotte-esque thing.
People have been saying that maybe a Violet prequel might be in the works.
Violet prequel, maybe one of the other like many Julia Quinn prequels, like because of Miss Bridgerton. I don't know if you're aware of
the Rokesby series,
the Rokesby series, you know, so maybe something like that because like it could be just totally outside of it, but. You know, I also found it super interesting in this season that they actually reference a lot of the Queen Charlotte stuff. Like I didn't know, I thought it was going to be something that you didn't have to watch to know what's going on, but like you did.
Yes, with Lady Danbury.
With the dad. She was like,
Yeah, because I didn't finish that season, like not for any particular reason. Like I just I watched like the first half and then I haven't gotten back to it, and so I was like, what are we talking about here? Like what's happening?
Did you figure it out?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah, and then like the reference to the crown, and then what Violet.
Yeah, it was like they didn't spell it out for people that didn't watch it, so that everyone who didn't, maybe they were saying like, okay, well now you need to go watch it.
Yeah.
Like in case you didn't, get back in there.
Yeah, that's true. I could totally see that. So let's get back to Penn and Colin. So like we see some cute moments, like they dance in the church, like that was in the Grosvenor Square. Like that, I think that was a reference to the book.
Yeah, they're like dancing outside, and they can always dance wherever they are because they like have music in their heart.
Yeah. And at one, like we discussed this at one of the, I think it's at their engagement party, Cressida, when they're playing charades, Cressida's like, I'm actually Lady Whistledown, but she just needs the money so she can escape her horrible fucking family.
And this like saves Penn too, because Eloise has been like, you have until midnight, which was like an empty threat faux show.
Yeah.
Here's why I'm a bad person. I would probably just go through the marriage that my father is proposing to this old. Because that guy
poison him though.
It's like the early 1800s, and that guy's already like 70. He's already a medical marvel.
I guess she's just like, I mean, she is like a young girl. She's never had sex before.
Totally.
Like this guy is like, I'm gonna put babies in you. Like I'm gonna like you can't ever go out. Like I think she's like petrified. Like, she's so scared.
Yeah, this guy is like
so like as a 34-year-old, 35-year-old woman, yeah, for sure. Like, I'll take it. I will just dump some arsenic in his tea and call it a day. You know, like
like the maids I'm sure will help. The maids probably hate this dude.
Yes, 100%.
Right. Yeah, I would just like, I'd be like, I know it sucks, but I'll suck it up for 2 years and then I can bang whoever I want to as soon as this guy dies.
Like Tilly.
Yeah, exactly. The widows have it made in this society.
Yeah, they do, honestly.
Totally.
I actually just read.
My husband.
I read oh my gosh, what was it? Oh, to Love and to Loathe. It's like a Martha Waters, Walters or Waters series. Anyway, it's like a Regency romance, and the girl's plan. She's like 18. She doesn't want to live with her family anymore. She's like, I'm gonna marry whatever old comes my way. And fingers crossed he dies. And like that's what happens. She's like, I'm a widow. I have so much freedom. I have so much money. I am a living life.
That's kind of what Francesca's saying. Like she's just like, no, I do want to get married because I want to get the F out of here. Like, she's like, I actually don't care who I marry.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be a love match. Like, ideally, he's not an old, but
yeah.
if he is, he is. Like,
yeah. That was interesting about Francesca. So we see her and John's relationship kind of blossom, but like Lady Bridgerton is kind of, she has
being a little bit of a bitch about it. Yeah, in my opinion.
Truly, I was like, don't you know
I'm not
your
sure
daughter?
what the problem was. And also, like, is the problem that she thinks that she'll get in trouble because the queen won't approve, and that's like really it? Like, is that, and or is she just like, Francesca's like not like doing this too fast? Like,
I think she wanted like a lightning bolt love match for Francesca without understanding that that's not who Francesca is as a person. And that's another thing I found frustrating about the show portrayal of Madame Bridgerton, because in the book, she is very much like, you are your own person, and I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of you. I love you as an individual, and not just like part of this huge Bridgerton family where you don't like got your flowers.
And I do think she gets there, but like,
but a little too effing slow for my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Especially for a side plot. Like, okay.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed the Francesca and John storyline. I thought John was such a lovely, engaging character. I thought he added so much to the scenes he's in. I thought he did like the kind of quiet guy so well in such like a lovely, charming way.
He tells the story about the boots. I was deceased.
I know,
was so funny,
and he like wouldn't tell it like at the group. But I'm hoping they don't make it so that Francesca realizes she's not in love with John. Because I think it's so vital for her story to like have that like that first innocent love story.
I know, that's the purpose of her book. Like, I don't know why they're fucking bastardizing these books. Like the whole point of hers is that she fell in love, had a what she thought was going to be one true love type of situation, and then falls in love again. You know. And I really think it's like I thought they had set that up, like the huge like scene with reveal with Michaela. I thought like that was cute. I liked that, but it was like,
it worked fine.
Yeah, but it was like, but then when they kissed at the wedding for the first time and she was upset about it, I was like, no, she's supposed to.
Yeah, hopefully that was just like nerves, and hopefully like we go into her season and they're actually like so lovely together and have such a nice time.
Because he deserves better.
Yeah, and I hope she's just not like pining for Michaela for the entire time. Like that would make me very sad, especially after how much I enjoyed their story in this season. And it's not like
she knows Michaela. She just sees her and thinks she's hot.
Yeah.
Like, which she is. Fair enough.
And like that's fine. And like, and I think she's more shocked about her feelings. Like she's like, whoa, like I find a woman like very like attractive, and like that's new, and that's why she's so shocked. But like that wouldn't translate to like her immediately being like, I don't love John. Like it wouldn't make any sense. It would just be crazy.
Yeah.
If you don't know this woman, you've met her, like you've just seen her, you wouldn't be like out of love with the man that you're supposed to marry. Like it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and it makes sense that they would try to set up their storyline in an earlier season because of, you know, it has to span multiple years.
Right.
But I just felt like the production team didn't believe that Colin and Penelope were going to be a success. And they just tried to
they were worried.
Yeah, they shoehorned a bunch of other shit in, and then it's like, no, we actually just wanted the Colin and Penn stuff.
Like we needed the content from that. Like you didn't need to add all this extra nonsense.
Totally.
Yeah, like I'm glad we had the Francesca and John storyline, because I really do believe it was almost necessary to get to Francesca's story. But I like the way that John was integrated in the family, and like he had some cute scenes with Colin, but then I wish we'd like had more Colin and Pat. Yeah, like that was so cute with like the brothers and everything. But then we're like wasting time on just like other shit instead of Colin and Penn. Like they can't make me hate the Mondridges. I refuse to.
No.
But it doesn't mean we need to spend so much time with them.
So much time.
I
don't care about the bar.
I know. I don't care about it's like they just gave them shit. I don't give a fuck about the bar. Happy that they inherited money, and I liked when they were like I liked the boxing scenes and stuff like that. Like that was really fun in season 1.
Yeah, like outside of the society stuff, like stuff that was a little
Yeah.
more down to earth, and then they like brought them in, and now there's literally there's no outside of the ton now. It's just the ton and
And
publishers.
totally, totally. And like I just feel like they're not given a proper storyline, so they just kind of have this half-assed, half-baked plot that
Yeah,
everyone's
like color
pissed.
commentary during balls and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And then they hosted that party with that enormous flower in the middle.
That I just didn't get. I was like, okay, what are we doing here? And then it was like, and the queen was like, I'm very impressed. I'm like, what is it? What is it?
It seems so crazy after they had fireworks in Daphne and Simon's ball. They had the dancers.
I think it's a thing. Like I think they're making it a thing that's not in the books, where like you need to like have an impressive thing at your ball. Like
totally.
But it wasn't impressive.
It was.
Like
Yeah.
the butterflies and stuff, that was impressive.
I love the butterflies.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah, that
the
was something.
Featheringtons
The bugs
were such like a breath of fresh air into this season. Like
Yeah.
I love the storyline of the sisters where they started out so separate and then they really like came together by the end and very much
and
loved each
Philippa's
other.
just like hilarious. Like the
They're
character's like
so
a like
funny.
insane human being, and I think it's so funny.
I was trying to remember, so please remind me. In the first seasons, is it always that way where there's like the bitchy Prudence and then the dumb Philippa?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, they're sort of. I mean, yes, but I do think they're more similar in season
Yeah.
one. Like,
Yeah,
they
they're
just
more
kind of
like both together.
Okay, because I was like, I thought they were just both bitches, and then when all of a sudden
No, they're both just dumb.
Oh yeah, okay. And then I was
They're
like,
supposed to be dumb, I think.
okay. I was like, I don't understand how like one became super dumb and then one became just extra mean. Which is also funny because I'm like, that's very Cinderella.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I think it's like I think that they tried to make it that way.
Yeah. I hope that we get more Featherington like stories in season 4, but I was thinking, I was like, what would happen with them? Because like we'll see bits and pieces of Penn and Colin, and we'll see the Featheringtons at the balls, but I wonder like what could their storyline be?
Which is tough because they've been almost more central to the entire 3 seasons of Bridgerton than even the Bridgertons.
No, actually.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true because it was all leading up to this Penelope stuff, and I think that they like because they revealed her as Lady Whistledown so soon, like I think we then in season 2 and now in season 3, like a lot of Penelope stuff happened, which meant like a lot of Featherington stuff happened.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think they kind of like, did that, sort of had to do it, I guess, just to kind of fill it out, but I don't know.
My MVP for the season was Portia Featherington.
Always.
I thought she was incredible. I thought the actress was so incredible.
Oh, she's so good.
She Portia was a perfect combination of like she's like a villain, but she like has like but you love her. She has so many layers.
She's practical.
And like somebody who's just been so like everything she does is so ingrained in her that like change and like trying to be the better is like hard. And like we all know that it's like hard to change. And she's just like, no, okay. And she's really good at doing that, I think. She's been a bitch her whole life to Penelope, and now she's like, wow, maybe I should stop being so mean to her.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it's hard for her to step out of that. And then she's always just like, well.
She's always been in defense mode, and now she's realizing
Yes,
she
always.
no longer has to be. I thought her scenes with Penelope were so stunningly beautiful. They genuinely brought me to tears, when she said once this is done, we both have to work to be better. Because I thought it was interesting where Penelope was like, how could you take the money that whatever his name was stole from the rubies, and she's like, as if you didn't make millions of dollars being a little
and not give us any money.
Yeah, we were struggling and you couldn't help us.
Yeah, but she didn't know they were struggling. Like Penelope literally never knew, and so it's like it's a communication problem. But it reminded me of in season 1 with Marina, where season 1 with Marina when she's like talking to her, and she's just like, there are things you learn to love about being married. Like, it's not your husband, and but you do love you. And I feel like whenever she talks about her children, she's like so real. And I think it reminded me a little bit of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I liked how they made up and she walked her down the aisle and then Penn used her money for the ball and stuff like that. Like, that was really fun content. And then we see, like, it's a time jump at the end. Penn has a baby, and then it's a boy, and then the girls have girls, which it's also, like, there was also just that statement, and I know it is just, like, the sign of the times, but it's, like, they had girls, but Penelope had a boy, which is the right type of baby. Like, they were, like, but she had a boy, and, like, the new heir, like...
Right, it's the heir stuff. It's, like, the little Lord Featherington, because I think there was that whole thing about, like, how, and then what happened with that? Like, what happened with the solicitor guy that was going to take away their title? Like, did I miss something, or did that just like disappear because she married a Bridgerton? Like,
no,
what
because,
the fuck happened?
Because they were able to sweep it under the rug, being like, oh, our lifestyle, it's been funded by Penelope's Lady Whistledown.
We didn't forge the documents. Yeah.
I see.
We also, like, get the big Lady W reveal with Colin, and he finds her. It's also just so funny. It's like she doesn't slip up for 3 years, but then all of a sudden she's getting caught, like, left, right, and center. Like,
right. And I think the thing about the book that I like with this scene is that you are in Colin's POV, and so you are seeing him like, you're reading that he's seeing Penelope leave, and he's like, where is she going? What's she doing? We don't see that. We're following Penelope. So when he arrives in the carriage storming mad, you don't know why he's mad.
Yeah.
And, like, in the book, he's mad because he was worried about her, and then feels like, obviously he goes into the church, and because in the book it's a church, and it's like a very slow reveal. This is kind of like he jumps to the conclusion that she's Lady Whistledown, and it's like you don't understand where he's coming from at all, and he's just like yelling at her, and she's like, please, Colin, and he's like, I don't care, and I just didn't feel like I understood where he was.
Yeah, and she was begging all the time for him to forgive her, and I'm like, less of that in this series.
Yeah, a lot of flip-floppy, although I will say that's true to the book. I always felt like she was such like a kind of like walk all over
Ashley,
me doormat girl.
Jared,
oh my god, such that.
And honestly, I really enjoyed the Madame Delacroix scene in here, like when she was looking for the fabric, and I love that
your dream, bitch.
Yeah, I love that Madame Delacroix is also able to drop her facade with Penelope, and like they really like get each other. And I love that she said something along the lines of, my favorite part about my job is being able to see the brides in their dresses for the first time, and like that feeling like really gets me through. Like, I don't want you to be giving up your version of that feeling because you're getting married. And I was so like I was worried we were getting a setup of Madame Delacroix sewering Penelope along the way, but instead she just became the best friend in this entire show.
Yeah, totally. They get married. I loved her pink wedding dress, and I loved the venue, but because there was still this unresolved tension, it didn't seem like super loving or like joyful.
But it still made me cry. I still
yeah.
Does he know it before they get married in the book?
It's pre-wedding, post-engagement, and that's why he's like, did you entrap me with the engagement?
Right.
Like, grow up, Colin.
Yeah, and then there was that weird fucking scene where the queen kicks everyone out at the wedding and accuses, like, what the fuck was that? I was getting so annoyed.
Right, because she's all of a sudden she's figured it out, because I guess like the only time Lady Whistledown has ever gotten upset and like come out of hiding was because they, like, the Bridgertons were bashed in Cressida's version, and like that's what made her come out of hiding. So she's like, well, it's got to be a Bridgerton.
I also have an issue with Cressida's slander column of like, well, who's to say that like Lady Bridgerton's whole brood was like fathered by
right,
the
they're
same
bastards.
because
like,
as
what?
soon as he died, there was no more kids. Like that's how like.
And
Also,
they also look identical to each
Yeah.
other.
They look identical.
And to like both parents, like
It's
somehow
been a
both
while.
of them.
Like
Yeah.
they're old. Like it's not
Yeah,
like she has a bunch of young children.
And it would be more likely that like Mr. Bridgerton was effing around and had like lots of children. Like that woman has to carry
in what
all
world?
of these children. Like no,
That was
like, not even no.
insane. That was insane. But like it, I don't know, like this fake tension, and then Francesca thinks that they're calling her out, and then Penn still doesn't say anything, and it just like
which was, I guess, the right move, but like at the same time, also I love that Lady Danbury was there. She was like, "I'm not leaving." She was like, they were like, everyone who's not a Bridgerton has to stay. And Lady Danbury
She's like, I fucked a like a Bridgerton tangential person. Like, let me say.
Also, like she's like to the queen, she's like, me and you, right? We're BFFs, super tight. Like,
yeah,
I can stay for this hot goss.
Yeah, and then it's like it just prolonged something that could have been wrapped up so much sooner. Like
Penn could have been like, it's me, hi.
Yeah.
This is truly a side note.
Yeah.
Do you think in the next few seasons we're gonna see the death of Queen Charlotte?
When does she die in IRL?
Like 1818, I believe. And already like in these books, like we've moved past like if we're on the exact same timeline, like let's say
Yikes.
Daphne's story was 1814. Antony's was 1815
this year.
Yeah, like within the next couple seasons.
But what about the king? He's still alive?
He is alive,
but they didn't show
his
him
son,
this season.
No, but because he's still a little like out of it. But like at this time, it's the Regency period because like the Prince Regent is kind of running the crown.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm interested to see if they just like kind of go along with the timeline, or she's like she lives forever. We love Queen Charlotte. Like I love Queen Charlotte.
They did the same thing with her with the Mondridges. It's like they didn't give her any fucking plot except for caring about Lady Whistledown. And then I liked her plot with George because that gave her something meaty and like.
Well, and then she had this whole scene with Lady Danbury where Lady Danbury was like, clearly I know who Lady Whistledown is at this point, and I don't want you to unmask her because like maybe, and she's like, maybe Lady Whistledown is also super insecure, and like, don't you remember when you were a young lass and had your insecurities? Like, what would you have done? And it was like kind of a weird scene, and then the queen is like, okay, like, should I not care? Like, what should I do then? Like, what's my game?
Yeah.
And then I guess Penn like writes the letters, but
she needs more of a plot to keep it like interesting. I think
less wigs, more plot.
Yes. We also get the Marcus and Lady Bridgerton stuff, which I really, really, really liked. Like,
I was like hoping for more.
I was hoping that they were gonna like hook up, but that will probably
they
come
didn't
in the next season, I'm sure. But I like how they started.
I wanted just like a kiss though.
Yeah,
like, no kiss, no little smoochy smooch.
Maybe because she's a lady and he's like trying to do things differently. I don't know.
She is, but she's widowed. Like she's not.
Yeah.
You know, she's not like a virgin. I don't know. Just something.
Definitely not.
Something would have been nice.
We saw Kate and Anthony return from their honeymoon and she's pregnant.
Yeah, they had a fun plot.
But it makes me mad. Here's my gripe and here is my grumble. They were fantastic. Oh my god, every time they were on screen, they effing Sean. Like it was
They do, and they have the most amazing chemistry. It's just like
you cannot tell me that Anthony is fucking off to India for a full year while his baby's being born. You cannot tell me that. This guy's whole shtick is how dedicated to his family it is. And like he has this family and blah, blah, blah. No, he's not leaving that. He's not ditching Francesca's wedding. Are you kidding me?
No, I know. And
He's
also
supposed to be the witness at all of them.
Yes, and also he has the Viscountess, whatever, Viscountcy.
Viscountcy.
Yeah.
He's not screwing off for a year. And at this time, like it takes almost a full 6 months to get to India. So what, they're going to have the baby on the boat?
I know. It made
they're like
sense.
Game of Thrones in the travel a little bit. They were just kind of like, we'll get there and then you'll have the baby and you'll be with your mom. And like, I totally get that. Mary and Edwina can come to England. Like, they can
Why did
come
they
on
leave?
over.
Why did they leave? That was another thing. I was like, did they just get shooed off the marriage mart?
So
I think
Anthony's
Mary was always intending to go back. Like, I think Mary was like, that's my home. Like, I'm going back to India. But like, yeah, why did Anrita have to go? Like, wasn't she gonna like find a match or something? Like the
Prince. I
next
would have been fine
season?
if it was just like she's having fun with her prince husband and Mary's doing
Yeah.
fine. She lives in the Dutch royal court. That would have been great. I wouldn't have cared. But this is like frustrating because there's just no way. There's just no way. And I think understand like Jonathan Bailey's career's blowing up. He probably just like wasn't available. But you couldn't have like
He was available more than what's her face. Phoebe, whatever.
you couldn't have CGI'd him into like Francesca's wedding scene. Like the whole season of Arrested Development they did 5 years ago was that. It like no actors were in the same room at any time. You could just do like one pop of like, "Hi, Anthony's here," because he
or like the back of his head, like they did at the funeral in Grey's Anatomy when Burke died or someone died and Christina came back. Oh no, it wasn't Burke.
But I also do feel like Francesca's wedding was so quick and dirty. Like I don't think it would have mattered if we didn't even see him. Like we could just assume he was there.
Yeah, if they just said Anthony was there, like it's so that this storyline made no sense to me, and like I can be less rigid with the books and the show are very different and it's a different product. But after the 2 seasons we just saw, Anthony
his character's different.
Yeah, like Anthony, I think has loosened the reins a little bit, but there's no way he is just screwing off for at least a year.
Yeah, especially since like in the beginning of the season, in the last batch of episodes, like he's so on top of Francesca during her first ball, and he's like, "I'm gonna help you, like I help everyone else," and like, and then they're like, "Okay, well, why don't we take a break?" And like, we don't need to be the Viscountess yet, but then yes, we are. It was I agree. They were just kind of like
been the for like a decade. Like there's no way he's being like
can't just like go away.
I know.
And Benedict's like, I gotta sign papers today because I'm the Viscount now. Like
I'm also pretty sure it's like a seat in Parliament at this point in history.
It is like it's an important thing. Like that's why he's so busy all the time. Like he has stuff to do.
He's just not leaving. And like they could have just said he was at his ancestral home in Kent, and I would have been like, okay, that makes sense for his storyline. He's taking care of family matters at his ancestral home in Kent.
I also thought he was just like too happy-go-lucky. Like I'm happy that him and Kate are happy. I don't want them to have problems, but couldn't he get mad about something else? Because like he just changed his whole persona. Like I liked when they were playing charades. Like it was finally like charades. Like they were really showing their true characters when they were being like really competitive. But like, couldn't he be mad about something else? Like he wasn't even mad about the Lady Whistledown stuff. Like like
he wasn't mad about. And then he was just like more eager to find out. Yeah, he was like more eager. He was like, "What's the tea? Like spill, Colin." Like. He was like, you know something, like
I found
what's happening?
I found that storyline frustrating as the world's #1 Kate and Anthony stands.
Yeah, me too.
It was just
Jonathan Bailey fan. Honestly, I'm. Is this a hot take? But like the Kate and Anthony chemistry was just so fire, and like don't get me wrong, I love Colin and Penn. I feel like their on-screen chemistry wasn't it for me.
Colin felt so flat. He felt so flat in the second half of the season.
I just didn't buy that they were in love.
It's not Penelope at all. I feel like Nicola Coughlan is such a good actress. It was really not her. He just seemed so boring, but it's like, because we never got his fucking backstory. He went away, he came back.
They tried to shoe in this whole like he's trying to pretend to be somebody else thing, and it just like I think it ruined it.
And then they completely dropped that, but they didn't give any credence to why. And then he's supposed to be jealous that Penelope is a real writer and doesn't want her help with the manuscripts or whatever. We don't see them. Like he's not writing in any
it like
scene.
once.
He says it a flippant comment, but they're not seen bonding over what really solidifies their relationship, which is writing. Like we never saw a fucking wink about his like manuscripts or anything, and it pisses me off so much. Like truly.
I think we just needed more Colin POV, and like in a way that wasn't just him like being a frat boy, because that's like the thing about Colin in the books that is so lovable is that he's just like a very cool, like fun, happy guy. Like he's never serious. Like he's always the life of the party. And like that's what makes him like attractive to her.
Yeah.
And then she realizes he has depth because he's insecure like everyone else. And like we get none of that.
Absolutely nothing.
And even since season 1, Colin was never like the happy-go-lucky guy. Like I felt like he was so serious, which was like not on par with the books in my point of view. But I don't know if that's a hot take because I do think that him and Nicola Coughlan have amazing chemistry IRL. Not sure what happened on the silver screen.
Yeah, allegedly there are scenes that got cut, like specifically sex scenes from them that got cut. Yeah. And I'm like, that sucks if they got cut for time, because then maybe we would have seen more chemistry and maybe we wouldn't have felt that way. There's one other thing I want to discuss before we get into our roundtable discussion, but if there's other things that you guys want to talk about at the show, we can do that too. The last thing that I can't get out of my head is Cressida like booed and shunned from the ton for pretending to be Lady Whistledown, and then Penn does her reveal and they're like, oh, that's
cool.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, like Cressida had a higher social standing, but we hated you. But this is fine.
Yeah, like literally they're
you're
like, burn that bitch, and then Penn says it and they're like, well, we understand why you would do that. It's like, and they do this in the book too, they just like forget about anything, but like it's like, it's just so weird how they
and the butterflies make them forget. Like, it's wild
like they're
to me.
like fucking dumb asses. Like it didn't make any sense to me. And again, if it was slower, if this, maybe the reveal happened in episode 6 and then there's 2 episodes of her resolving some of the tensions between the ton. Like
the books, don't they just like go away for, oh no, that's Sophie and Benedict. They like go away for a while. They're like, we're just gonna go live in the country because she's like not part of the...
go on the honeymoon once don't they travel together once the announcement is out? I think that is right.
Yeah.
In the book, I don't know. We never.
Yeah, no, they like disappear for there, or he says they will. They're like, oh, we're gonna like go away for a bit.
Like,
yeah. We'll tell everyone that you're Lady Whistledown, and then we'll just disappear for a while, and it'll be fine.
Yeah. Is there any other plot points that you guys want to discuss?
Not really. Like, I think we covered most of it. I will say that I kind of mentioned it before. I do have a hard time when things don't stick to the book, because the reason I'm so excited about the show is because I love the book so much, and I very much do understand like it's a different product, but it ended up being all of the scenes that were not in the book ended up being my favorite. I loved a lot of like the side plots and the side characters, and almost everything except Colin and Penelope, which sucks. Like I would go back and watch the first half of the season in a heartbeat.
Yeah, me too.
But I think I would have a bit of a hard time watching the second part.
I literally don't even want to. And it just sucks because I really do think Penn and Colin's story, it's a good one. Like, again, I've only read the first 4 books. I think I rated it second. I think I did 2, 4.
I think we had
1,
different
3.
takes on this, didn't we?
Yeah.
Haley and I were like, no, it's not the best, and you were like, yeah, I like it, but like we like an offer from a gentleman.
I know.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're an offer from a gentleman hater.
I fucking hate that one.
I love it.
Now,
I'm a Sophie stan for life.
Yeah,
if I could just,
I like it too.
I mean, like them doing it on the couch in an offer from a gentleman is just the best.
Yeah,
like the best. Did they steal that for this though?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Kind of.
Yeah. Okay, that was another thing I was thinking of. Actually, thank you for bringing that up. Is actually it's Sophie and Benedict that have sex in an empty,
in his study.
Yeah, I thought it was an empty house, or
it's like
or his
it's
bachelor.
it's his bachelor pad. So he like takes her home one night. Like I don't know. I don't remember. Like he like. Just like she comes with him and she's like, I'm not gonna be your slut, like that's not gonna happen, like I don't want to end up like my mother with like a bastard child, like I will not do that, I'm not gonna be that. And he's like, well, that's the only way we can be together. And then she's like, no. And then they kiss and then she's just like, whatever. Like at this point I like him, like what happens, so like, but yeah, it's in his bachelor lodgings.
Yeah. I think that I will read the books, but to be honest, I won't read it until we get a date for this.
Are you serious?
Otherwise you have to read it again.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Like, you're just gonna be like, I'm gonna leave these sit here for a while?
I might get desperate, like, if it is truly 2 years.
If you don't have anything else to read, yeah. They're easy reads too, honestly. Like you can whip right through it.
Yes, like
I'm genuinely flabbergasted.
I'm only not because I've read them before, so I'm like, yeah, she could wait. But no, you're right. I would never have waited.
I'm gonna read them 4 times, probably by the end of this year.
Yeah.
I might actually read Franny's.
No, but you can't read.
I think you like
so mad. Stop reading 6 out of 4. Step 1. You know what? My whole personality for the entire month between the release of part 1 and part 2 was just read the fucking book. Like, it was because, like, they'd be like, well, what happened? Like, John and Francesca are like, oh, they should do this and that, and like, just read the fucking book.
Like people on
We're
the
like,
internet.
Oh, what about? Yeah, just like,
yeah, they were like trying to guess what's gonna
exactly.
happen.
Don't get me
Series.
started about
Read
bitches
the
on the
fucking book.
internet.
No, like,
I know. There
are some things like, oh, well, that's a spoiler for like a future season. Books have been out for 20 years.
Forever. This is like kind
of
a funny story, but I was at like an appointment or something, and like the nurse, or I forget who it was, but somebody was like, oh, do you watch the Bridgerton? And I was just like, sorry.
Do I watch Bridgerton?
And I was just like, yeah. And in my mind, I was just like, yes, you fucking bitch. And I've read all of the books. Like, I was like, don't even come for me with the Bridgerton.
Yeah.
You plebeian.
Yeah.
Like, do you read?
That's so fucking funny.
It was
and I was just like, this goes against like my entire personality of like I was just like, I shut down. I was like, yes, I watched that.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't want to talk to you about it.
Month, I've just been like the meanest person. I haven't commented on it, anything, but like emotionally, I've just been like, it's not a spoiler. It's not a spoiler. Read the books. These are based on something.
The Bridgerton fan base is also like hella toxic. Like they are.
I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I also do this thing where like if I watch something that I really like and like I don't want, like, I love talking to you ladies about it, but like I don't want to talk about it around the water cooler. Like I don't want to talk about it.
That's like Survivor.
I also don't want to talk to my husband about it. Like he is recording something tomorrow night, and first of all
about Bridgerton.
Yes, and I was just like, what the fuck? I was like, you never read the book. You've never no, but there is somebody on the pod that is a Bridgerton fan, so he's like kind of like the color commentary.
They should have asked you.
I should have asked Haley. Should have asked one of us.
Yeah, or Haley or Kirsten or
no, but like he was watching it, and I like immediately left the room. I was like, I don't want to watch it with you.
Yeah, I get that too, because like it's like when people make comments on Survivor and they're like, oh, like Gabler was like a good winner or something like shit like that you're just like,
it's like when my sister got obsessed with Harry Potter a year after I was already obsessed with Harry Potter. I was like, don't talk about it. You don't know anything.
You don't know what it's like. I've been trying to tell Ethan, like, I'm like, oh, so this happened in the series, but it's not like, and he's just like he's so glazed over. And
I was watching it and the Michaela thing happened. I like sent Mike like a little like text that had like a bunch of rainbow flags in it, and I was just like, it happened. Just like in Bridgerton.
I was accidentally spoiled on that on Reddit, but then I saw Michaela and I was like also so taken with her, like Francesca was. I was like, all right, I get it. It works. I'm in.
It does work, especially because they're planting the seed and it'll be like a fresh love story, and I'm sure that they'll keep the plot points.
Although, how do you keep the plot points in the 1800s?
Don't spoil Tori because she doesn't know what the plot points are. I also want to quickly mention Eloise being like, hey, babe.
Yes.
Congrats on getting married. And I know you wanted to get married to get away from the family. But hear me out. What if I come to Scotland with you? And Francesca's like,
okay.
All right, come along.
Yeah.
It's a big castle. You can
have
your own thing. It's fine. I don't even have to see you.
I kind of like that.
Me too. I'm like, all right, you need a break.
Well, and now I can imagine her like, I don't know how much you know Tori, no spoilers.
No, I do know
like,
this. I mean, like her writing.
To fill up with love. Like it's like written, so, and maybe she's going to spend her time like in the castle, like writing letters and like being like finding herself or whatever. But
and you know what? I'm fine with it because Eloise mentions in her book, like, oh yeah, like I went to Scotland to visit Francesca, and so I'm like, finally, a plot point is accurate to the book.
I truly believe at this point, like with their production schedule, I truly believe that we will get a dual season, Eloise and Benedict, and then we'll get Francesca's. And actually, I think this series will end, to be honest.
You don't think we're gonna get Hyacinth and Gregory?
No, and I feel like they're not aging up fast enough. Like, they look like...
Well, if they wait 2 fucking years, Gregory's gonna be like a full-blown man.
And
Don't
then
worry.
like another 2 years after that, yeah.
Also, they aged them down with makeup. Like, if you look at the actress that plays Hyacinth, like, she looks like a full-grown woman in all of these press things. Like, I don't know how old she actually is.
He looks like
but...
he's like 17 or 18. So yeah, no, you're totally right.
Actually, it just reminded me of his outfit for the premiere. Did you see Gregory's outfit?
It's bad.
This is very funny, but he's wearing like shorts and combat boots, and like it's so
like
weird.
Stylized, like they're oversized.
Oh, it's supposed to be a style, but like I'm such an old woman about that stuff. I'm like, if it doesn't look like it's like a A-line outfit, like classic lines, like I'm out on it.
I just really think, if you think about it, if they're on a production schedule, so it's like that means on my plot, like my timeline, that means that they would wrap up in 4 years, which would be, 2028. You think that there would be a 2030 season and a 2032 season? Like, that's
I think
insane.
If anything, it's like a recasting reboot situation.
But yeah, like a spin-off or like,
a movie, a you know how they did with Downton Abbey, like a new era, like maybe it's like Bridgerton, a new era, and it's just like maybe 2 people from the old show come, and it's like the mom, and that's it. Like I barely remember Gregory and Hyacinth's books. Like I need to get rereading those suckers, because I've been doing like, okay, I'll read The Duke and then I'll read the Viscount Who Loved Me, and then because I was prepping for this season. But now that I'm done prepping for this season, I can continue on.
Balls to the wall.
Yeah, as soon as we finished the part 1 and like the romancing Mr. Bridgerton, I immediately read To Sir Philip with Love again.
Yeah,
did you?
So funny.
See, I had a stack of books though, because I just got the Fourth Wing follow-up book because I hadn't read it yet, and I was just like waiting for the paperback, and then I listened to your pod, and I was like, I guess I can't wait anymore. So I went to got the hardcover, but
nice.
Which is annoying that they don't have a paperback yet. I need the cheap options.
I know.
I think also I'm a little like the Eloise stuff with Penn. Like I'm still not over it, but other than that, like that's all I have to talk about.
Yeah, I liked how they had that like flashback, or not a real flashback, but like the reference to them sitting on the couch eating bonbons, like that. I thought was really cute.
And they made up in a way that was a little lackluster. Like Eloise just like backed down. She was just like, never mind. I actually don't care. Yeah. And I think there was one line she said when she was like, you had until midnight. And like Penn was like, I didn't tell him. And she was like, yeah, but I didn't either. Like neither of us told him. So she was like, I'm also being that person.
She had that realization. And then I think her feminism like kicked in. She was like, oh yeah, this person has like a lot of power and can like shape society and stuff. So like I actually now
and also Cressida sucks. Like why did I drink her poison?
Yeah. So the music of this season, we got POV by Ariana Grande, Yellow by Coldplay, Confident by Demi Lovato, Lights by Ellie Goulding, and Thunder by the Lumineers, and then You Belong With Me by Taylor Swift. Any faves?
I mean, You Belong With Me, like
and You Belong With Me is such like a
classic.
I'm watching the boy who likes another girl and I want him to like me, and now he does like me, and so I get it. Have you ever seen the Ashley Iconetti You Belong With Me video?
No.
I have to find it. It's really bad.
Oh no.
They like did like a I don't know, like a little like movie or something, but it was like a weird like You Belong With Me reference, and like, oh no, it's The Story of Us.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's right.
That makes a lot of more sense. Okay, let's get into our roundtable discussion. Our internet investigation. This is our cursory peruse of the internet of things you need to know. Okay, yeah. So I was on the internet a lot. Oh, I really liked this. When Luke finds out that she's Lady Whistledown and he's crying, that was not planned. He was crying because he was so tired, and tears just like came out. And then the director was like, oh no, I love that. Like, let's keep that in.
And then he had to cry every other take, which is like a bummer for
Too
him,
real,
but
crying when you're a little overtired.
No, I know. And I was
Too
like, it was
real.
really fitting because I do think Colin is supposed to be like a soft boy. And I was like, this
Yeah.
actually makes a lot of sense. So I thought I liked that. I also didn't know that Luke Newton was a Disney Channel boy.
I didn't know
A
that.
UK Disney Channel boy. And he was like basically the Zac Efron, like doing a bunch of like.
Well, I mean, he was in the boy band, right?
Yes,
There's this like
yes.
really funny video that Nicola Coughlan like basically like during the dancing scene in the last episode drop, like where she and him are dancing before she gets broken up with, like they're getting ready to film it and she convinced the entire set and like director and like everyone to play the boy band song instead of the music that's supposed to go over the scene. And they all start like, so like as soon as they hit say action, her and Colin are dancing and all of a sudden his boy band song comes on and like he's like shocked and it's really funny.
Super funny. That set seems like such a good time. I love Hyacinth's all of her TikToks. I like
She probably has a lot of downtime.
yeah, totally. I like all of that stuff.
Did you see like the behind the scenes of like Nicola Coughlan and Lord Devling doing their like practice dance scene? Like holy shit, the chemistry on that was so fire. I'll have to find it because it was like unreal. I was like,
oh, okay, yeah, please send it our way.
That's what I'm saying. We missed that. I feel like things got like left out.
That's one of my biggest wonder whys. Where the fuck did Lord Devling go? Like
he went to the Arctic.
He could have rescued Cressida. Like, come on.
I know. It just made no like.
He definitely could have.
I get it that like characters go, but it's like not even like, well, Lord Devling isn't here to witness. Like I don't know. Like there was just no fucking mention of him. We also found out on London premiere date and the release date that Luke is dating Antonia.
Rumored.
Yeah, no, they're like holding hands. No, they're
rumored dating. He holds hand with Nicola Coughlan all the time.
That's true.
I don't want to.
I was so gooped by this. Not that I ever really deluded myself into believing
I didn't either.
Nicola Coughlan were no.
I just thought they were like two single like people like just like living their lives. Like I didn't think he was dating anyone, and I didn't think she was either. But
like the strength of Antonia to be here. I do not consider myself a jealous person. Couldn't be me.
No, I was also thinking all the time is because it's like, yes, they were like flirty and holding hands and stuff like that, but there are literally fan edits of him like looking at her boobs and like biting his lip when talking about her or like thinking about her like in a conversation, like asked a question about her, like whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's not just them like fake holding hands. Like there's literally moments where
they have like there's
jealous.
something there. Like I don't think it's fake. But like I do think it's like they're definitely like not actually dating, but like probably should be.
Yeah. And just the fact, like, I don't know. He also looks, I want to say, so much better. Like, it's wild. He like, I hate the way his glow up was in season 3 because like right now with like a little bit of stubble, he like maybe
he looks great.
Yeah, he maybe like put on like he wasn't like fucking so ripped and like he just looked so and not as tan. He looks so much better.
Tan thing on it because like him in all these press photos, like he's very attractive. Like he looks great. He's got like a beautiful skin, like wonderful like facial features. Like he is normally an attractive person, and I feel like they over like Kenned him. Like he looks like a Ken doll almost in the first drop of the season. Like it's like too fake. So
totally.
I get you.
There's also a really funny internet theory, which is funny how it turned out, but the actress Masali Baduza, who plays Sophie from South Africa, she had posted on her Instagram straight out of a fairy tale, ready to play Cinderella. So everyone was like, oh my God, that's Sophie. Because
that's Sophie, but no.
Yeah, of the Cinderella adaptation. But we were bamboozled because it's Michaela. And Hannah Dodd is the only one that follows her.
No, Nicola follows her too.
Okay. At the time when I saw this, it was only Hannah. I was like,
oh, okay, yeah.
We should have known.
Hannah commented on one of her latest photos being like, so lucky to work with you. Like, oh, they're so cute.
Yeah, I mean, she's honestly like so stunning too. I can't get over her.
Freaking gorgeous.
There's also, like I mentioned, allegedly cut scenes that Netflix has that, yeah, were cut from the show that fans want. And there's like a change.
But they have them.
They have a change.org
This is like
petition.
what's the superhero cut? What's the the cut of the movie? You guys
Yeah,
probably,
like the
what's the funny
extended
shit?
version. We want the fans edit.
Yeah, the fans edit. What's it called? Oh my God, everyone's probably screaming at us right now.
This was also discussed. So Paulin allegedly had 78 minutes of screen time. Daphne and Simon had 113 minutes, and then Canthony had 89 minutes. So people are like, we want those scenes. And the scenes that were cut were Colin going home with Penelope after he finds her at the Modiste, which leads to the angry kissing scene that we saw. Paulin laying in bed together talking about publishing Colin's manuscripts. That's literally all I've ever asked for. And then Colin whispering sweet nothings to Pen in front of the mirror, kissing her neck and being playful, which I feel like we got that, but
yeah, I feel like
maybe it's just more. And then a intimate montage in episode 8, including a scene in which Colin goes down on Pen. Because, Kate, this was like another thing, because I think
what?
Yeah, I was like, where the fuck is that? Because I feel like that was the breaking news headline in season 1.
Yeah,
and
that it was going to be so much Pen glorified in her body, and
not
I was
not
so
even
excited
that.
To see that.
Just the female gaze sex scenes that prioritize women, like the women first and stuff like that.
For sure.
And so I was like, why is this cut? Like, unless the actors didn't feel comfortable doing it, because I don't want to
No, but she said to so many times that she was super, she would wanted more.
Yes, yeah.
So she was I'm gonna be super naked in this show.
So where is it? Fucking release the tapes. It's driving me absolutely bonkers.
I'm with you.
So there's a change.org petition. I will put it in the episode show notes if people want to sign. I signed a few days. It's getting an extra it's getting 10,000 signatures a day.
Sign up right now.
And I kind of feel like such a loser. There's so many more important things that we should be petitioning for. But if you have 1 second, you can just pop your name on.
That's so funny.
Okay, our Wonderwise, these are unanswered questions for the listeners. I already said, where's Lord Deblane? I was, confused if Prudence and Philippa were always so, dumb-coded and evil-coded. I think, Angela, you mentioned this, but I was like, what happened to the annual Hearts and Flowers Ball?
The annual Hearts and Flowers Ball. They could have just said, the Hearts and Flowers Ball. They didn't have to call it an annual one, and it would have been fine. And now we're all like, where's the ball? Why aren't they going to the family seat in Kent?
In Kent. I also really missed, we got barely any outdoor scenes. And we had
that's true.
So many outdoor balls or outdoor picnics or outdoor walks in every other season, and we didn't get any.
Excuse me, we got the hot air balloon scene. What are you talking about?
We had a lot in the first drop. They were always promenading, and they were always at a market or whatever. But
true.
Not in this
not
one,
in this season. Or this part.
Yeah.
One of my questions is, how do you think they're going to do Lady Whistledown / the narrator in season 4?
I mean, so it kind of seems like she hangs up her pen at the end of the season. She's goodbye.
Right.
So and it does transition from Julie Andrews to her voice for a bit. And then they basically epilogue us with I don't need to write anymore. It's very Harry Potter coded, where it's and my scar never hurt again. And I never picked up a pen again. Okay, so I guess Lady Whistledown's a thing of the past. Whereas I initially thought it was she's going to try and publish as herself. But then they gave us that goodbye scene in the very last scene. So it was a little confusing. I don't know. I think they'll probably just do it where it's Penelope, it's not as much of a thing in the next seasons. Lady Whistledown is not as much of a problem. There's other problems now.
But not even that it's a storyline. What are they going to do about the narration? Because each episode you get, just the books, with the chapters, there's a gossip sheet.
I don't know that. I mean, maybe they'll continue to have the gossip sheet be Penelope writing it, but I think there's also a world where they just drop the narration as much, and Or they make it like it's Lady Whistledown, but it's just for us, the TV viewers.
Yeah,
Like
I think
Julie
Yeah.
Andrews
I
is
think
still
they could do
there
that.
narrating the show, and she's just like, "Yeah, I'm here." Like, and like Penelope's off living her life, but like I'm still here. Like
XOXO
XOXO.
Gossip
Gossip
Girl.
Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually was thinking about this because in our part 1 episode, we talked about how we liked that they changed the orders of the books because we had already gotten scenes in season 1 and 2 of Penn and Colin, and they wanted to, strike while the iron's hot. But then I was actually thinking, I'm like, I actually kind of wish they saved that for the last season. And we did get the time jump where Penn is a spinster.
Yeah, they would have had to save it from us too, though. Like, I feel like the lead up to like her telling people about being Lady Whistledown was so annoying to me. Like, I was just like, because I knew it was coming eventually, that I was like, can you, like, I hate when people have a secret. Like, I don't like that in television. Like, I don't like when there's like a misunderstanding or like somebody, it's not my vibe.
We hate a miscommunication trope.
I hate it. I'm just like, please tell. Like, I had so much anxiety when she wasn't telling Colin because I knew she needed to tell him for there to be any resolution to things. So I might have just gone crazy, but that's me.
Yeah, yeah. I just don't know what they're gonna do. Like, what are they gonna talk about in the ton and like at balls and stuff?
I'm sure they'll find. I think they'll have like Julie Andrews still kind of do a narration with it being a little less like, oh, dear readers.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be. I mean, they have 2 years to figure it out. So.
Yeah, so fucking hop to it. Okay, our gripes and grumples, these are nitpicky problems we have with the book. Yeah, I hated how they barely touched on Colin being jealous that Penn was a writer. And then he just like dropped the Playboy Act, which I guess would have happened naturally when he got engaged. But then I was like, they didn't mention it though. Like they didn't say like, yeah, what was up with your fuckboy attitude?
Yeah, and it's just like... I felt like Colin was so flat in this back half of the season.
Yeah.
Like his scenes were almost completely irrelevant, which is so shocking because he was one of the leads. And he never felt like a lead in the back half.
Totally.
I will also say that Colin is the one that points it out. Like, he's just like, I was pretending to be someone I wasn't. And he just keeps saying it. And I feel like it was just like nobody was listening. So it was like, kind of fell apart. Their little like him being a playboy, but he was like, yeah, I was pretending to be someone I wasn't, and you made me feel like I could be who I really am.
Yeah.
I'm like, but who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you?
I think the other main thing is the show feels so different is because there's no flashbacks, because we get flashbacks in season 1 and season 2 with
That's true.
Anthony and Simon, especially, and it's like it actually fucking kills me that it's like we could have got them, Colin and Penn, meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, they just like say it very briefly at their wedding. And
yeah.
It's like, all right.
Like they could have talked, or they could have shown us more shit from their friendship and stuff, and it would have fleshed out the characters way better.
Well, because their whole thing is friends to lovers, and like I very barely believe that they are originally friends. Like I'm like, she's Eloise's friend.
Yeah, and she's
like,
like an acquaintance of Colin, but I guess it's rare.
And it's not that way in the book, but like I do feel like they have more, like they get to know each other in their book, because like when she's a spinster and like as he's returned, like they're talking a lot more. We just didn't get any of that.
Totally.
We're
or how nice he
been, like,
was to
friends.
her over, because everyone was so rude to her all the time, and he was the nicest. And we did see that in season 1 and season 2, but like I just feel like even if they fucking flashed back to the TV show, like I feel like if they just
for real,
like interspersed some other things, I don't know, I just would have made it a little more.
I feel like the wholesome. TikTok edits did a better job at giving them backstory.
No,
than
literally,
the show did.
And then
so true.
Haley, you mentioned this, but just like when the Bridgerton family isn't fully at the big events, that would just never happen.
So annoying.
Like the whole point of this book series is that the Bridgertons are like fucking ride or die for each other.
I never even thought about like just having a stand-in for Daphne and Simon. Like just have them standing in the back of the room. Like it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. or mention specifically why they aren't there.
We didn't hear anything about them. Yeah, where at least with like the last season, they gave them like a little bit of like an excuse. Oh, Daphne and Simon are, etc. Like they just had another baby and they're like at their house or whatever. But they're not in this show anymore.
Straight up. And Francesca's character in some ways seems so much like Daphne, like in her mannerisms and stuff, not like obviously personality wise.
Like as a debutante, you mean? Yeah. Like as like a very like not meek, but like quiet and like very
passive,
like, proper.
Yeah, and just no mention of why she would be like that or anything like that.
Nope. Not that she has a sibling.
Any other gripes and grumbles that we haven't touched on?
I think I've touched all of my gripes and grumbles.
Okay, just wait. Back to the flashback thing for 1 second. We didn't even learn why or how Penn became Lady Whistledown.
That's so true.
Yeah, she sort of mentions it in her speech at the end where she's just like, I started this because I felt like alone and I was on, I felt like I needed to take back my power or whatever. And I've learned so much since then that I know I don't need to do that, blah, 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 blah. But like, we don't, like, it's very shoehorned in at the end. They're like, oh, wait, we forgot to talk about why she's Lady Whistledown. Let's add it to the speech.
Yeah, or how she was able to do it or anything else.
Yeah, the logistics.
Yeah. Okay, the sequel scoop. This is the tea on any upcoming seasons and the general reception. Season 4, we know, is coming out in 2026. They're currently writing it. Allegedly, it takes 8 months to film, and then it needs to get edited.
I'm sorry, that's crazy.
Yeah.
8 months?
Yeah.
Like, if you were an actor and you were told, I can't do anything else for 8 months, is that, like, normal?
For a TV show, I feel like when it's like the 22 episode
ones,
true. Like,
that's true.
Yeah,
a 22 episode TV show, but this feels to me like it's like it shouldn't take that long.
Yeah, and then they say they edit it, dub it in every language, so they are on track for a 2-year pace. And then allegedly it's probably Benedict's season, but maybe also the dual season.
Yeah.
And Kate, Simone Ashley, said she will be back for season 4 in a press junket. So,
because she's a smart lady. She's like, Bridgerton's where it's at. Like, if you want me back, I'll be back.
I love her so much.
Silly Daphne.
Yeah, it's like, the moneymaker. It keeps her name in the press.
Literally nobody's talking about them now. Like, they were all the rage when it came out.
But I feel like they didn't ask Phoebe back for this one because they did.
They probably didn't because they put up such a stink.
They said like, oh, we kind of like fleshed out Daphne's story as much as we could in season 2 without.
She caused drama though, didn't she?
Oh, I don't know.
She could be the advice person
it's his choice if he doesn't want to, and I stand with him, and like I think it maybe rubbed some people the wrong way.
It makes sense that she wouldn't come back if he's not really coming back because there's only so much they can do with her. But I would like to see her, especially because she's British. I was like, just pop over for the fucking wedding scenes and then go do something else.
Earn a paycheck, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if they are mad though, because I bet that they didn't know that it was going to be a 2-year pace. And I bet that they thought, oh, I can't be... If this is my
I can't commit.
Yeah, 8 months out of the year.
And to be fair, I don't think they knew it was going to be a hit either. Like at the time, like they were like it was a new show. Nobody really knew like if it was going to be what it is. And I think like they're probably super bad at themselves now. Like I would be if I was him.
Well, I think also like they probably in season 1, because most of the time was spent on Simon and Daphne, they didn't know that there was going to be so many side plots and that the writers would make room for side plots in future seasons. So they probably were like, why would we come back?
Oh, yeah, like The Crown, like one and done.
Yeah. Like, why would we come back if there's no way we're getting anything? Yeah. And then it's like, oh, no, you could get a full fucking episode, basically.
You could be Mondrich.
Yeah.
You don't need to just be a boxer.
Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, I'm just gonna reread the books and revel in it. I've had a good time watching it. I don't want people to think that I'm an absolute hater. It's just I personally have a hard time separating like book from show, and I could see if I was only a show watcher really loving the product. But because I have already loved these characters, it was hard to it was hard to see, especially like Penelope and Colin like not
fall
really
so
be
flat.
the focus. Fall so flat. And like season 1 it really was Simon and Daphne's story. And I kind of felt in season 2, even that we weren't getting like enough Kate and Anthony. And like
the stuff we got.
Yeah, the stuff we got was great.
Chef's
But you know, I feel like it's kind of happened again this season, where I want them to be in love a little bit, or you know, have a different kind of drama.
Yeah, and I get that it's like we need to flesh out the next season's leads, but it's like, well, they did a little bit with Anthony and Sienna, but like they wouldn't have done that with Simon and stuff. So it's like, why do we need to know?
Do we need to flesh it out? Like, not really.
Yeah, like especially because Benedict, I found out because I've been posting on TikTok and people are fucking Benedict stans and will come for your neck.
They really are.
If you, like,
they really are.
don't say
surprising.
Something nice about Benedict. And I was like, where did these girlies come from? So I was like, you don't need to give him a trillion like backstories because the audience is built in.
Honestly, very strange backstories too. Like they're not even like it's like we're not even giving him things
art once this season.
I know the whole thing where he gave up art, I found just so strange. Like he was like,
not
I'm not
gonna actually
art.
give it up. Like he's gonna become an artist,
so right? And it's like the reason he gave it up is because Anthony paid for him.
And then so he's just like, okay, I'm a fucking nepo baby, so I just won't go to school.
But you are like and then like his whole character is that he's a nepo baby.
Yeah.
Like all he wants to do is like have fun at parties. Like that's literally what
when
he says.
Paul and Talia like, so what do you do? And he's like, well, like I like to, you know, chat at parties.
I go to parties and like like I like to go like
okay.
drink and like fuck and stuff. Like until he's like, I'm literally trying to make it in a man's world. She's like, I want to be taken seriously, but nobody will, and you're over here just like hanging out.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Fuck you.
So bad. Okay, let's put a bow on Bridgerton season 3. Haley, can you tell the listeners where they can find you and anything else you want to plug?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @hstrong_. And if you like Tori's podcast, and you probably do, you've made it to the end of this, you will probably also like my Bookstagram account at The Strong Library, where I read and review a bunch of books. Oftentimes, I'm inspired by what Tori's covered on the podcast. Not always the same reviews, but that's chill. We're fine. We're friends anyway.
She's so fine with it.
And then if you want to hear more from me, you can hear me on the reality TV wrap-up. So we're covering Top Chef right now. The Bachelor season will be starting up probably in the next few, not probably, no, it's definitely starting up in the next few weeks. And I actually joined Angela's husband, Mike Bloom, to talk about the Survivor 50 wish list from Survivor Palau. So
Love it.
Lots of options. Visual.
You're out there.
Audio.
Angela, where can the listeners find you?
You can find me on Instagram. It's at Angela Bloom. Bloom is spelled with 3 O's because it wasn't available otherwise. I'll make a Bookstagram eventually. I have like a whole like list.
Okay, I love it. Okay, thank you both so much for coming on. And that's the story of Bridgerton season 3. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you to Angela and Haley for joining me on today's show. So, a few housekeeping things. I want to say, I think there is a correction with the missing scenes. I think that both Nicola Coughlan and one of the maybe like producers or something like that have commented on people's TikToks being like, there's no extra scenes. But, and like, not to put on my tinfoil hat again, but like sometimes I'm just kind of thinking like, well, the fucking internet just works like that. So I have no doubt that this could have just been a fan throwing something out and it snowballing into something a little bit nuts. B, I guess I could see maybe if there was legitimate sources to that, like maybe someone who worked on the show and knows that there were scenes being cut. And then C, just like maybe there are scenes, but they know that Netflix will never release them. So they just said that they don't exist or something like that. Or maybe, again, maybe they did exist at one point, but they are not edited and, you know, formatted and all of that stuff. Like, they're not finished, basically. And they have no plans on, you know, getting them ready for TV. I have no clue. But it still is a little bit weird to me that the main couple has had so much less screen time than the other two couples. I hope that this isn't a trend that we're seeing with the new showrunner and in like future seasons. Maybe they thought because we got Penn and Colin scenes throughout season 1 and season 2 that they could cut down stuff. I just kind of wish they reduced the ensemble a little bit and focused on the main love story rather than trying to fit in 1,000 plot points. And then I just want to say sorry for the delay. We recorded this, I think, like a week ago, but I have been so busy at work. As most of you know, I have a full-time job and then I host 2 podcasts, and I just got really busy. And so I had to postpone this one, which brings me to my next point, is that this episode's coming out today, obviously, and then we will have Red, White, and Royal Blue out on Wednesday, July 3rd. And then I'm going to be taking a break throughout July because it is summer break and I really, really, really need a break. Obviously, this podcast has only been around since January, so many of you probably don't know this, but I've hosted my other podcast for 6 years, and I do public episodes and Patreon episodes, and then this on top. For a few months out of this year, I was literally producing 3 episodes a week, as well as working, a full-time job at a university, and it was way too much, so then I reduced it to 2, and I'm just finding, honestly, that 2 is still too much. And it might not be in the fall when, I'm at home more and stuff like that, but I'm just finding June, July, and August especially, I want to be outside. I want to be with my friends. I want to enjoy the summer and soak up the sun. So we will be taking a hiatus in July, probably most likely coming back in August, where we will cover Forget Me Not by Julie Soto and a bunch of other books that I will let you know about over the coming weeks. So if you are hearing this for the first time, thanks for all of the support. It's been a really fun 6 months of the podcast, and I can't wait to create more content. I feel very fulfilled creatively, and it's been so fun to connect with a lot of my IRL friends about romance novels, something that, most of us, like, I knew that we all read, but didn't really know that we could connect on books this way. And obviously books teach us about life, so we're just connecting about so many different things that I just never thought was possible. So I've been having a really, really good time, and I'm excited to take a little breather and then be back with really fun content. Well, I will be refreshed and just ready to go. Okay, friends. In the meantime, subscribe and leave a rating for the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And you can suggest a book for us to cover when we get back. All the links are in the episode show notes. Our next episode is Red, White, and Royal Blue. Until then, happy reading. For Ready to Be Romanced, I'm Tori. Goodbye.